Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd, a podcast all about getting shit done, hopefully in an elegant way that doesn't leave you too broken. In our crazy worlds, we're all about balancing the need to work enough to make ends meet, enough not to annoy our bosses, but also enough that we feel like we've done enough, which can be a whole different psychological and emotional ballgame, along with the human need to rest and stay well. Plus, on top of that, we'd quite like to enjoy ourselves, maybe just a little bit along the way, spending quality time with those we love. I, for one, love hearing about how people get that balance and work more efficiently so they have more time to do the things that they love. Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd. I'm Kathy Soulsby, and today we are diving into a topic that feels very close to home: how our hormones affect our productivity. As a woman who has often felt at the mercy of her hormones, perfectly fine one day, bordering on psychotic the next, I know firsthand how much they can shape our focus, our energy, and our motivation. So this isn't just interesting science, it's actually incredibly practical. Joining me today is Liz Sherlock. Liz is an NHS nurse and a clinical hypnotherapist who specialises in women's health. We'll be talking about what's really going on throughout our cycle, how to spot hormonal patterns in your work life, and what we can actually do to work with our body chemicals rather than fighting against them. If you've ever felt like your brain's gone on holiday without telling you, or your to-do list suddenly feels emotionally aggressive, this one is for you. Let's try it. So hi and welcome to Productivity Nerd. I'm Kathy Soulsby, and today we are speaking to Liz Sherlock. So in a topic that's kind of close to my heart, or probably more accurately, my uterus, we're talking today about how hormones can affect our productivity. If you're a man, oh, you lucky bastard. No, seriously, it's a gift. You have waking up every morning knowing that you're unlikely to be set upon by weird emotions or feelings out of the blue. But, you probably have to live with some women, work with some women, and, we do go through this. So you can get the inside scoop on what it's like for women in productivity, or at least know when to hide from them, right? So today, Liz is going to talk to us. She's a nurse and a clinical hypnotherapist who specialises in women's health. So hi, Liz. It's so great to have you here.
Hello, lovely to be here.
So how did your own kind of experiences or career path bring you to this hormonal career, as it
Yeah.
were?
I worked in general practice for a long time and saw a lot of women coming for, cervical screening, coming for contraception, and I really enjoyed helping women. So I just learned more and more about hormones, about women, about the menopause, and then eventually I moved into managing and working in contraception and sexual health. And obviously, we get a lot of menopausal women as well, because contraception and sexual health does affect all ages. So I think it's just a really good, you can do so much and you can inform women so much about their health. A lot of women are not sure about their menstrual cycle, how the menopause works, and all that. So it's just really rewarding.
Yeah, fab. Yeah, it is quite interesting, isn't it? How
Mm,
I am still learning now about things that I feel I should know about my own kind of
yeah.
hormonal health. But
And
yeah,
and
um,
likewise.
yeah,
You never stop learning. That's the main
no,
thing.
no.
Never.
What's one thing that you wish more people did know about how hormones affect kind of mood and clarity and motivation to get stuff done?
I think the link between food and menopause is, and menstrual health is not often talked about, and the role that insulin plays in our whole hormonal system. I think that's something that's quite important. And the other thing I think is important is learning about self-compassion, so that when you are going through menstrual cycles, when you are going through changes in your menstrual cycles and the perimenopause and menopause, you actually are aware of how to be compassionate to yourself and how to be kind to yourself. And I think that's an important message as well.
Yeah, because we don't have any control over it,
No,
right? So
absolutely. No,
there's
we
no
can
point.
no, we can control how we respond to it,
Yeah.
and we can control our physical and mental well-being, which has an impact on it. but there's no control. The hormones will do what the hormones will do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And what hormones are we actually talking about here? Obviously, there's estrogen, there's progesterone, but are there others as well that kind of make up this horrible cauldron of women's
Yeah, I mean,
existence?
thyroid can always play a part
Mm.
on women's health throughout their life cycle. So if you're very tired, brain fog, that sort of thing, it's always worth checking your thyroid because that does have implications, and you could be fighting against your reduction in estrogen or your changes in estrogen, and actually there's something medically that needs to be sorted. And testosterone, we're learning more and more about testosterone, which is the male hormone produced by the testes, but women have it as well, and it's responsible for strength, but also responsible for our libido, our sex drive. So we're finding out more about testosterone and how important that is to women.
Yeah, and I may have imagined this back in the day. I seem to remember there was a bit of a thing about women taking testosterone to kind of do better in business, not necessarily just to give them kind of an edge. But this is
Yes.
an urban myth from the 90s, for all I know.
Yeah. I think testosterone is that sort of energy, well-being, get up and go. So certainly
Yeah.
it would help with productivity in many ways. Uh,
Yeah.
and also, another subject, but a good sex life also helps your cognitive function
Ah.
and helps your stress levels. So that can also affect your productivity
And obviously testosterone affects your libido or lack thereof. It
or
can
lack thereof. Yeah. Yeah.
reduce your libido. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Mm.
And I know after what feels like a long, long time of living with my hormonal cycle, um, I definitely have days where I could feel like I could conquer the world. Probably about three a month,
Yep.
which is kind of irritating because if you're a man, presumably you get 28. So I get three where I feel like I'm a real proper functioning human being at the peak of my abilities. And the
Mm.
rest of the time it kind of goes up and down. And I definitely have 5 days where I am basically a cat and just sort of need somebody to just tuck me into a duvet and leave me the hell alone for a
Absolutely.
bit. Um, are there talk us through the cycle, kind of what generally am I experiencing and are other women experiencing as we meander around that circle?
You're experiencing the menstruation phase, and then your body prepares for ovulation. And ovulation is the most important part of the human race because it's for if you don't ovulate, you don't get pregnant, we don't continue. So your body prepares, and the hormones change, and you have follicle stimulating hormone, which is under the influence of the brain, and that basically stimulates your follicles. So it stimulates the eggs to ripen, ready to be released. So that phase after menstruation, sometimes you can feel quite good and you can feel okay, 3, 4 days. Then you hit that sort of ovulation phase where you may have some physical symptoms.
Yeah.
You may have bloating, you may have joint pain, you may have backache, all those sorts of things. And that if you don't get pregnant, that egg is released, you don't get pregnant, and then the hormones drop. If you got pregnant, the hormones would continue to rise to support that pregnancy. But if you don't, the hormones drop. And the hormones drop and signal to the body to clear out for next month, get ready for next month. And that drop, it's progesterone. So the hormones rise, you have the follicle stimulating hormone, your progesterone starts to rise, and then it drops and falls off, which signals the body to menstruate. And that cycle goes on and on. Now, that second phase, that luteal phase, that can sometimes be the time when you are really not feeling great. You'll probably feel good enough straight after ovulation, and then it starts to go a bit downhill, craving the carbohydrates, wanting chocolate, tired, all those types of things. So it's important just to recognize that that cycle, if you have a natural cycle, it's quite good because you can actually predetermine when you're going to feel good and when you're not going to feel so good. So then you can work to your cycle. Now, a lot of people on contraception won't have a natural cycle. And then you get the perimenopause. Great fun. Perimenopause,
Wild.
the the function of the ovaries start to decline. So you need more follicle stimulating hormone to get them to work. So the follicle stimulating hormone goes up to still kickstart them. Come on, get working. And it varies. So one month you'll be great and your cycle will be normal. The next month you might not get a cycle. You might not get a period for 6 months and you might think, oh, maybe I've stopped. And then it'll all go back to normal again. And then you might get a heavier period, you might get lighter, but the hormones are basically erratic. So they are not in a nice pattern. They just are all over the place. So, of course, you feel all over the place. You feel, like you said, great one day, terrible the next. So, and that lack of estrogen is what starts to cause the brain fog, the joint pains, the hot flushes, the sleep deprivation because of the hot flushes, etc., and can increase anxiety as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I did some testing in the gym on the weights I can
Mm.
lift, and when I'm in my luteal phase, I can't lift as heavy.
Yeah,
Absolutely can't lift as heavy as I can any other time of the month.
I know. And
It's
it's
mad.
surprising how much our hormones affect our mental health, but our physical health as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
pretty, neutral test. It's like, can you lift this up? And yes or no.
Yeah,
And
great
sometimes it's
test.
no, and I'll look at the
Mm.
diary and go, oh, okay, right, yeah, that makes sense. I could do that last week. I can't do that this week. I'll be fine next week. Yeah,
Mm.
really funny.
Yeah,
Um, and obviously there are lots of things in life that affect how we go about our day
yeah.
to day. There's hormones, but there's also,
Mm.
stress, there's other
Yes,
illnesses, there's,
yeah,
life just being a bit shit,
mm.
overwork, not looking after ourselves
Yeah.
properly. At what point do you go, no, this is definitely hormones? What kind of signs should we be looking out for that this is a hormone thing and not, for example, a thyroid thing or I'm just working too hard thing?
Yeah, I think with perimenopause and menopause, it's quite easy because if you are 45 plus, you're getting hot flushes and you're feeling terrible, uh, you're in the menopause. You
Yeah, although
don't
I
need
never
to
got a
have,
hot flush. I was
no,
very, very menopausal. Still to this day, never had a hot
yeah.
flush.
75%, only 75% of women do, so 25% of women don't. But if you are that age and your periods are changing, you've got all those menopause signs. We used to measure the follicle stimulating hormones. We don't anymore. It's based on your age and symptoms.
Yeah.
When you're younger, uh, I mean, there's a lot of endometriosis,
Mm.
adenomyosis, things like that, painful periods, irregular periods, polycystic ovaries, where your hormones are a little bit all over the place as well. That can really impact. So, those sorts of things, because it affects your life. So, I think with menopause and with menstrual health, if it's affecting your life and affecting your well being, then seek help.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, thyroid, it should always be checked if you are losing weight or gaining weight, because you can have overactive or
Hmm.
underactive, but particularly underactive can cause coldness, and can cause brain fog and things like that as well. So
Yeah.
it's quite often done fairly standardly for women.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we as women, we just get on with this. We,
Yeah,
where we can, we take what help is available, right? All the
absolutely.
HRT in my case, right? All the HRT, all the exercise I can throw at it to keep my bones strong, all that good stuff. But thinking about how we can accept there's no way around this,
Mm.
we need to almost embrace it and work with our cycle, not against it, because it's happening, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, are there ideal times of the month? Maybe obviously this kind of doesn't relate to menopause and perimenopause,
Mhm.
but for women of menstruation age, are there ideal times of the month to focus on particular things?
There are, however, every woman's cycle is very individual, so it's very difficult to say this will work for everybody. I think one of the important things is to track your cycle, to use, there's so much out there now, app-wise, that you can track your mood, you can track your well-being. So, I think from that point of view, track for 2 or 3 months, and then you can work out, you'll see a pattern quite quickly, and you can work out when are your good days and when are your bad days. And I think one thing that women don't always think about is also their social life as well as their work life. So sometimes if your diary is completely full with social things and your work is busy and you know that's your bad month, maybe adjust. So, the social life that you have is less hectic. So you've
Yeah.
actually got time to just sit and be and don't feel guilty about just sitting and being or walking. Those sorts of things are so good for you.
Yeah. And I know I have a friend who gets very bad paranoia when she's due on.
Mm,
And so she maps it kind of discreetly in her work diary because she's on a lot of boards, and she has a very
yeah.
complex and political role. And she
Mm,
genuinely doesn't know whether someone's trying to stab her in the back for real or if it's just her hormones have sent her slightly mental for 3 days. So she will actually check her diary to make sure if she's got big board meetings or something coming up, to almost make a mental note, right, okay, this might coincide with when you're a bit PMTE.
yeah.
Just do a double check on what you're
Yeah.
thinking about and how you're reacting to things, and just sense
Yes.
check it to make sure it's real and not
Yeah.
imagined hormonal, people
Yep.
are out to get me.
That's right.
um
Absolutely. And then you can work with your brain instead of against
yes.
your brain, and you
Yes.
can go, okay, I hear you. That's fine. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it might be they're all out to get her, who can say? But
Mm,
it's worth knowing, at least if you're
yeah.
aware, you can do
It,
that
it
sense
balances your
check.
thought
Yeah.
processes to, is this real? Isn't this real? And yes, you're right. It might be real, but you can at least see it from a clearer perspective, I think
Yes.
is the important thing.
Yes. Yeah, and if you have got some control over your work plan, if you
Yeah.
maybe go and deliver workshops, or you do travel
Mm,
for work or whatever, it may be you say, do you know what, actually that is a terrible week to go over and do a
yeah.
really hardcore 3 day
Yeah.
in-person event with 100 people. I'm going to be
Yeah.
really tired. I might
Yeah.
do that the following week, if you
That's
have the
right.
power to do
It
that, right?
Absolutely. And I think, if you have got control of your diary, it does make things easier. But there are things that you can do even if you don't have control of your diary. You can you can make sure something as simple as making sure in the weeks when you're not so good, you take that lunch break and you be really strict with yourself. And so you have time to just go and decompress at lunchtime. Because so many people don't take lunch breaks these
Yeah.
days. They just work through in front of their computer, working from home, working in an office, and yeah, you just never leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I will take sometimes I will take a nap at lunchtime. I'll
Yeah,
have lunch and then I'll have a nap for 20
power,
minutes
power
because I
naps are
kind of
great.
need it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing, you can build into your day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm lucky. I have a lot of control over how my days
Mm,
pan out. I'm not sure in a day-to-day office one can really get away with just going for a quick snooze. But if you can and you need it and it makes you feel more alert afterwards, then
mm,
great. Um, and in terms of types of work. So I think we have kind of daily rhythms of how energetic we are and how energetic
mm.
we're not. And that
Yeah.
obviously translates to kind of monthly for women as well with our cycles. I
Yeah.
definitely find there are some chunks of time when I am more creative than other times, and
Mm,
other times when I'm perhaps more, um, what's the word? I was going to say ballsy, but that doesn't quite fit given the topic. But you know what I
yeah.
mean.
But
There are definitely
yes,
times
I
when I'm more
do.
confident and less confident, and
Yeah.
times when I'm very thinky, and that's a really good time for me to sit down and do a load of writing. And the
Mm,
following week, I may not have that urge.
yeah.
And I do think it's really nice to be able to embrace how you feel and use that as to what to get done in a given day. I mean, obviously, sometimes that's have a bath, eat chocolate, and
Yeah.
cry, but
Yeah.
not terribly productive. But it might
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah.
It might
That's
be.
it. But I think this is where self-compassion comes in, because if we're not compassionate to ourselves, if you go and have that bath and you cry and then you beat yourself up for it, I should have done that. I should have done that bit of work. I'm so useless. I don't know. I can't manage anything. You're going to go into a downward spiral and feel worse. So even if you say it out loud and you say, I recognize that I'm feeling tired and I needed to do this. Well done. And you actually say that to yourself and say it out loud. It calms your nervous system. It makes you just recognize that you're doing the best you can do. And I think all of us, the only thing we can do in life is the best that we can do given our circumstances, our hormones, and the things, and worry about the things that you can control, because you
Yeah,
can't control the people around you. You
yeah,
really can't. If people want to be arseholes, they want to be arseholes, and you just have to let them be. That's their problem. That is not
yes.
your problem.
Well, it might be more their problem as well if you're in perimenopause, because the rage I remember as being pretty intense.
Yeah.
I went
And
to the
again,
doctor and I said, either you give me some HRT or I'm
or
probably going to be on the news.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
choice.
And again, if you've had one of those bad days and you have screamed at somebody and that was inappropriate, you may feel terrible about it. Remember, it always gets better. It takes 2 to 3 days to get over a really big blow up, and
Okay,
then you'll
good.
feel better and you'll think, "What was that all about?
Yeah.
What was I on?"
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And the other really interesting slash awful thing about perimenopause is, I think, brain fog, because women who are in their late 40s, early 50s, they're probably at the most important part of their career, right? They've
yes,
probably risen to the highest,
yeah,
maybe they're going to get to, they're going to be in senior positions quite likely. And
mm,
all of a sudden, you can't remember the word for glass and you have
yeah,
to say the thing you drink water out of, because literally the word has gone, as if somebody's erased it from your mind with a like a rubber.
yes,
Um, that was that, and the rage actually were my first
mm,
perimenopause symptoms.
yeah,
I didn't have any of the physical symptoms at all, really, until
mm,
later on. The fact that I was going to murder somebody and I couldn't remember what day of the week it was. They were the two. But it's really, really hard doing a serious job and dealing with brain fog. Apart from
yes,
obviously being kind to yourself and acknowledging that's what it is.
yeah,
Is there anything practical we can do? I mean, I quite like the fact that more women now are calling it out. I've been in meetings where women have
yeah,
gone, oh God, sorry, brain fog. What's the name of that project we're doing? And you just kind of go,
yes.
oh, it's that. And everyone just kind of go, yeah, it's fine. Somebody really
Uh,
famous did it on stage as well the other day. I think it was Tori Amos. She was
mm,
singing. She literally forgot the
mm,
lyrics to her own song halfway through,
yeah,
and just
yeah,
went, oh, sorry, brain fog, start again.
yeah.
I thought, ah, perfect. It just needs to be more spoken about.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of the things that I really experienced, particularly on medical words. And I do a lot of presentations, and I used to just have to throw it out to the audience because I just couldn't, I could remember the word, but I couldn't say it. I
Oh,
actually physically couldn't say the words correctly. Sometimes it was very strange how, our brains and how they control us. Yeah, it's amazing. I think brain fog is something, obviously HRT helps. If you
yeah.
need HRT, take it. It's good stuff. If you cannot take HRT or don't want to, or you are in perimenopause or even just, premenopause, in your menstrual cycle, making sure that your sleep is good, making sure that your diet is good, because insulin is a hormone, and how it affects our bodies and our hormones, I think, is something that we don't talk about a lot. The other thing is, things like vitamin D, which is really good for immunity and query sort of cognitive function. I think it all links in, but certainly, a diet high in omega-3s, known as the sort of brain vitamins and things like that, they can help. I think call it out if you can't say the word, just say, I can't say the word. Somebody help me. What's this wonderful word I'm trying to find? And I think making sure, as I say, adequate sleep. Sleep is very important because it again helps with all our hormones, our stress hormone, cortisol, etc.
Yeah.
And sleep is a problem in the perimenopause and the menopause.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So you don't sleep, you feel terrible in the morning. That's going to increase your anxiety. It's also going to increase your tolerance for arseholes. It's going to, you might turn to the caffeine. Again, that
Yeah.
might help short term, but doesn't help long term. It's all those sorts of things can just build up and cause these problems. But you're not, without HRT, you're probably not going to get rid of that problem.
Yeah.
Even with HRT, you may not get rid of that problem. So it is about calling it out and just accepting, sorry, I've forgotten it.
Yes.
Difficult in a big, important board meeting.
Yeah.
But I think more and more people are understanding about menopause. And I think any organization should have a menopause policy, should be aware. And so anybody working at a high level should be appreciative of that anyway.
Yeah. And I'm definitely seeing more businesses, or bigger businesses certainly,
Mm,
talking more about
yeah,
menopause, having those discussions, having some kind of, as you say, a policy or a plan.
yeah.
Generally, our workplace is doing enough to support women's hormonal health.
I think most of the big ones are.
Yep.
I think they are doing well with menopause, maybe with menstrual health, not so much, because it's only just started to be talked about.
Mm.
And I think that's something they could factor in from the point of view, if you've got endometriosis and you're in agony for quite a lot of the cycle, that needs to be, you might need to have some reasonable adjustments made. Uh,
Yeah.
Even things like I did some talks at a place recently, and in the toilets they had pads, they had tampons, they had, nice it's something little, but it really helps.
Yeah. Yeah, it just does. And I think as well, there's something for me about the younger generations are more at home as well as in work.
Mm,
Nobody's going to, I hope, no men are going to freak out if they see a Tampax and
no,
a sanitary pad in a pot in
no,
the toilets if it's a
no,
shared toilet. You
yeah,
would kind of hope, whereas I think perhaps a few generations ago it was something that just wasn't spoken about. It was a mystery, and
yeah.
you know, nobody wanted to. Well, I say nobody. Men didn't want to know.
No, no, you're right. We didn't talk about periods, we didn't talk about bleeding, and people still have some embarrassment around it. But it is something that most women, unless they have an underlying condition, do.
Yes, I read a horrific fact which I'm now going to get wrong because I've forgotten it. Not because of brain fog, but because I didn't know it that well.
Yeah,
Um, that they didn't actually test sanitary towels or tampons or with actual blood until like 5 years ago.
yeah,
Until then, they were using ink or water or
yeah.
something. You kind of
I
go,
can
what?
believe it. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get it for the adverts, right? Because it
Uh, Fair
looks
enough.
offensive, but actual testing strikes
Testing
me.
them properly, yes.
Testing them properly.
Yeah,
Let's just test them with test them with custard. Why
yeah,
not? What difference could it
absolutely.
possibly make? Oh my God. Yes, indeed. So the poor men who are, lucky enough, unlucky enough to live and work with us
Mm.
wonderful women, um, are there helpful ways for them to support us without, being patronizing or annoying and getting murdered?
I think being understanding, but also not comments like, "Oh, it's her time of the month," or "Oh, it's the bloody hormones again," are not helpful.
No,
So really try and refrain from that, because it may not be her hormones. She may
no.
just be having a bad day.
Yeah, I
Something
mean,
else may have happened in her life.
exactly.
You
Yes.
you don't know.
Yeah.
So I think for men, things like, um, "Oh, you seem busy today. Would you like a coffee?" Or just not even, "You seem busy. Would you like a coffee?
Yeah.
Can I do anything for you?"
Yeah.
You know, if you're at home, can I help with something? Things like that. Just recognize that hormones are playing a part. It's not personal. I think is the other thing. And communication, not at that time. Wait till things have calmed down, then communicate. What was happening for you then? Tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And open communication generally, right? And I think it's possibly easier at home because you have a different relationship. In the
Yeah,
office, in work, definitely don't turn around and go, she's a bit
yeah.
arsey. Is she
Is it
due
the
on?
time
Just
of the month?
don't
Is it the
say
time
it.
of the month, dear?
No, probably you're just being a prick.
Yeah.
Be my
You know,
guess.
yeah.
But yeah, you have to obviously be a lot more cautious
Mm,
because, you don't know these people, and women
yeah,
don't always want to talk about it or acknowledge it or
no,
have it really impact their day.
yeah,
You almost need to wait for women to say something and then be understanding than just kind of
yeah,
um,
yeah.
barge in there and,
I, and I think
mansplain PMT.
yeah, I think what organizations can do is hold webinars on menopause and menstrual health and really encourage the men to attend. So you
Mm.
have an open forum where you can talk about things. And for men just to be informed about the menstrual cycle and to be informed about menopause, I think that's half knowledge is so important, you know.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm surprised sometimes by how much I still have to learn, but I'm genuinely horrified by how some of my male peers
Mm,
are
mm.
utterly oblivious to
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah,
And I have had some conversations and kind of gone, but what? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, there is definitely a gap in knowledge, which hopefully is gradually getting filled in, right? As we
yeah.
women become more aware of everything. I mean, I'd never heard
Yes,
of the link between insulin and hormones, but of
yes.
course, insulin is a hormone. It just never
It
occurred to me that it's a hormone. Of
it is a
course, there's a blooming
hormone
link.
and it affects estrogen. And
Oh,
that effect, can affect our mood. So balancing your insulin not only stops you being starving all the time, but can also really help with your hormonal health. So it can help with PMT and things like that. So a simple thing that could help your productivity is having a protein-rich breakfast instead of reaching for the cereal, the croissant, the pastry on the way to work. Um, egg, egg and tomato, scrambled eggs for breakfast, eggs on, good quality wholemeal toast sort of thing, you know, can set you up for the day and can help with balancing insulin. Now, it's very easy for anybody to say, balance your insulin. Of course, in reality, we know that is quite difficult because stress comes in and hormones come in and life comes in and you grab something on the way to work. But that's one thing, simple thing you could try to do is just get the breakfast right.
yeah. Yeah, I'm quite a protein. I am eggs for breakfast most
Yeah,
day, or eggs or porridge, one or the other,
yeah.
depending on what I'm at. But
Mm,
I definitely, because I'm in the gym, I sort of track my pro. I don't tend to worry about
yeah.
anything else, but I do track how much protein I'm having and try and
Mm,
make sure I'm getting enough. And it definitely does help. And the days when I am not so good on my protein, I it's not even just that the protein goes wrong, everything else goes wrong as well, food
that's
wise.
right.
There
Yeah,
will be a twirl somewhere in
yeah,
my life at some point in
absolutely.
that day, right? And and less likely to happen if I had, like today, I had my eggs on toast for breakfast.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
which is good. And the luteal phase works against us in that it wants us to eat carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And that's actually the worst thing we can do. So,
Of course.
but, you know,
Thanks, hormones.
yeah, thanks, hormones.
Yeah, you'd kind of think that a bit like pregnant women, they'd encourage you to crave the things that are actually going to assist as opposed to the things that are going to. But I
So,
don't think I've ever had a craving for scrambled eggs in my life, whereas
oh,
curly
me
whirlies,
neither.
curly whirlies are a thing, right?
Mm,
So we talked a bit about HRT.
mhm.
Obviously, if you are able to take it and you want to take it, you absolutely should get it.
Absolutely.
I think it is becoming. I really struggled to get HRT out of my doctor. I had to sob on receptionists and everything to get HRT in the end. Um, but I think doctors are getting a bit like the rest of us, are getting better
Yeah.
educated about the menopause. And there's no point in waiting until things get really bad, like my friend, for some bizarre reason, who was literally dog walking in a bra because she was so hot. And she's like, oh, I'm going to wait till it gets really bad. Why? Just take them. It's good for
Yeah.
your bones. Um, yes. So some women just embrace martyrdom like it's a job.
Hmm.
Cracks me up. I'm not one of those. But apart from obviously getting the medical side of things, focusing on your diet to make sure you've got enough protein, looking at
Yeah.
your vitamins, getting enough rest, which can
Get
be
enough rest.
tricky if your
Yeah.
sleep is impacted. I mean,
Mm.
I sleep like the dead, right? I'm a good sleeper. But when I pre-HRT, my sleep was awful. And it wasn't because I was having hot flashes. I just couldn't sleep. And
Yeah.
that I think is pretty common. I just kept waking up at 3 in the morning. That was me done. It
Mm.
was not helpful. Um, what would you say in terms of being productive is the most useful thing for us women to do, work with our hormones as opposed to battling them?
I think understand your hormones and work with them. I think
Yeah.
the use of lists and productivity techniques can really help. You know, a lot, if you've got an underlying neurodiversity as well, and that can worsen in menopause, perimenopause, and with your menstrual cycle. So I think all of those things that can help, make lists, use one app for recording tasks, etc. Because sometimes we have so many apps on our phones that we're actually not sure where we put the messages to tell us to do something. So I think that can be useful. Be consistent with things. So consistency with your sleep routine, consistency with what you use to support you throughout the day. And things like that, the old Pomodoro technique, when you're feeling like that, making time, with the Pomodoro technique, it's 25 minutes, 5 minutes off, and then, take a half-hour break. But make your own, work with your cycle, work with what works for you. It might be that you can only be productive for 15 minutes at certain times and then take 5 minutes off. It may be that 45 minutes is your sweet spot. Find your sweet spot and work with it.
Yeah.
And if you know, so for me, I'm not very productive between 5 and 8 in the evening. I always feel terrible. So, and so I would avoid taking on difficult tasks at that time.
Hmm.
Again, if you're lucky enough to be able to plan your diary, if you work better first thing in the morning, do all your more tricky things then, and then the standard things, answering, standard emails, planning, your next day, sorting out your task management, that sort of stuff that you can do in the afternoon. But if you've got an important paper to write or important presentation to work on a project, do that when you're feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing, which isn't necessarily a productivity tip, but I have a folder in my inbox which is called nice emails.
Okay.
And any time that somebody says, something lovely or about me or
Mm,
one of the team, I will save it in there. And if I'm having a day where it all feels too hard and I feel deeply miserable, I'll just open that up and read through the nice things that people have said and go, oh no, I can do this. This is
yeah,
fine.
that's a
I've got
really,
this.
really
Yeah.
nice idea. I really like that. I'm going to
Yeah.
take that one on. That's really
Yeah,
good.
nice emails, and sometimes you have to
Yeah.
screenshot them if they're on, social
Mm,
media and email them to yourself.
yeah.
But it just means that you've got somewhere to go where if you are in the depths of despair going, oh, I can't do anything. You go, well, maybe not today, but you
Yeah.
have done and you will do, in a day or two. It's
Mm,
fine. Yeah, I really like my nice emails folder.
yeah.
It's
It's a
it's
very
good.
good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, Liz, thank you. It was fabulous talking to you. Um, where can people find you if they want to talk more about hormone health?
You can find me on sherlockhypnotherapy.com. Uh,
Fab.
so I offer hypnotherapy and wellness coaching. So yeah, go check out the website. There's
Fab.
some information on menopause and sex, menopause, and just general well-being and what you can do to hack your brain to help.
Nice. Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much. That was really interesting. So whether you are still surfing the monthly hormonal dramas or clinging to the raft of perimenopause, or you're a lovely man and you've just listened to this because you're interested and you want to know what goes on in women's worlds, thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure to have you with us, Liz, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.
That's it for today's deep dive into hormones and productivity. Thanks so much to Liz Sherlock for helping us untangling the mystery of why some days are amazing and we're unstoppable forces of nature, and other days we are just sobbing quietly in the stationery cupboard. Whether you're charting your cycle or just starting to notice a few patterns, remember your productivity isn't broken. Your hormones are just occasionally running the show rather than you. So let's get to learn the rhythm, plan accordingly, and the most important thing, as Liz was saying, cut yourself some slack and be kind to yourself when you are feeling at the mercy of your chemicals. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next time on Productivity Nerd.